Well, I'll give you a bit of an update on this water heating contraption. I filled it up, and like I say, now you go down here and you feel, and the hose is cool back here. And you go up here, even in where the shade is, and it's hot. So it's heating as it goes through. But the one thing I had a little problem when I first hooked it up, I really should have made these runs, like say this, an inch higher than that, you know, and keep, because it's possible to get pockets of air in there and kind of lock it up. And the same here. You know, when I first set it up and got it going, it was kind of airlocked, similar to what the heaters on new cars. You know, if you drain the heater out, when you refill them, you can get an air bubble in there, and you've got to bleed that air bubble out. I had to do that on this, but now it is circulating. Yeah, you start to get warm, and the barrel is actually in the shade. So all of the heat is coming from the hose, which, I mean, the hose is blazing hot. You know, and this is just, like I say, regular garden hose. Just use wire ties, you know, cable ties on a piece of old plywood. You know, I got very little invested. It's funny too, because the hose and the plywood, that all came from one auction sale I was at. You know, just junk I pick up, you always find use for it. But it's a good old Sears garden hose, you know, Craftsman, and it's rubber. You know, the new stuff, because the rubber you can make a bend and it doesn't kink. You know, the new plastic hoses, they tend to kink all the time. It'd be tough with one of them. But I really, you know, it works fine, but if I redo it, it will be to make them runs so that they make a little more of an angle, so that I don't, because these are actually flat across. Well, then you can get them air bubbles in there. No, because I did have to play around, but I got them all out of there now. So now she's percolate through. So that'll work fine. I could trim another bush off, and I could get sun on the barrel, and because the sun is really pretty straight up. But those are just box elders that I really was planning on trim down anyway, because they kind of interfere with the clothesline. Funny thing too, because the trimmer I was using, I also got at the same auction sale. I got the holes in the plywood. But I've got it figured out, so the spigot is the same level as the top of the tub, so I could throw a hose and it would, you know, run it all the way to the bottom of the barrel. Or not the bottom, not the very bottom, because they put that spigot up. That's got to be about 10 inches up. No, at first I thought, well, I should change that, but it's not bad in a way, because I pump water out of the spring and sometimes you can get sand in there. Well, it's all right to have a little settling area in there, you know, so I think I instead of coming right out of the bottom, I think that'll work. And that's mounted on an old stump. I just had to clean all the burn weed out of here to get back to it. And there's nothing really holding this up. It's just propped up in the back because I wasn't sure, you know, I was figuring elevations, and eventually I'll be running an eaves trough. I'm building the shed right there. And the eaves trough off of there has got to go down to there, so I was trying to balance this stuff out. But I maybe will just retie, you know, put the cable ties so that you get an angle on those, a little bit more of an angle. I think that would save me having to burp that air out of there. But otherwise, I've got to work fine. I mean, there's no reason it wouldn't. But I should trim the tree, because I might as well get heat out of the barrel too. Otherwise, it'll actually be, the coil will be heating the water, the barrel will be radiating the heat out. So I should get sun on that too. But it hasn't been sitting there very long in the sun, and it's already starting to warm them up, so that'll work fine. And I can just run it right into the Maytag. And somebody was asking about how I wash clothes, and it's these old square body Maytags. They are great for getting really dirty clothes clean, because the square body, when they agitate, you get like a vortex in every corner. You know, some of the round body ones, what'll happen is pretty soon, you know, if you put many clothes in there, their clothes are moving back and forth, and the water is moving back and forth, but there isn't really any agitation going on. This thing with those corners, there's always agitation. So I can put a lot in there. So like I wash 3 pair of pants at a time. It's not a problem to agitate very well. And like there's some newer washers that have got an agitator that goes up and down. Like say there, you throw 3 shirts in, and what you get out is this tangled up donut of 3 shirts all twisted together. You know, these plain agitators actually work better, but especially with the square body. If you ever find one, you know, grab. Well, same with the double tub setup, which is what you need to use one. They're a little hard to find. New ones are expensive. So if you run across them, you really want to pick them up. Like I said, these are good, but these have the electric motor in them. Even better is the old, I've got another old Maytag that was designed to run on a gas motor, and that actually has a pulley on it. Well, the good thing is then you can run any power source. You know, I've used the David Bradley on that. We'll just run the David Bradley up to it, throw a belt on it, run the wash machine. You know, so that's a little more versatile, but this has got the electric motor, works fine, but there's no pumps or any of that stuff. You just put the hose down to drain it, you know. But there isn't really anything to go wrong with them, you know, which is a nice thing. And like I say, you get superior agitation. I know people who use these strictly for washing like saddle blankets and stuff, because they do such a good job where you couldn't dare put one of them in a regular machine. So they're worth, you know, if you can get your hands on one of them old ones, get them when you can find them. I don't mind so much, you know, I got the old one I could still use with the pulley on it. But this one, I run the generator, but when I'm running the generator, then I'm charging up my laptops and charging up the batteries for the DeWalt stuff, you know. So I make use of the power all the time when it's running. And it doesn't take long. I mean, you can hammer through. And they're actually very economical on water, because what you do is you start out, you know, washing with the wash water. When the wash water gets dirty, drain it out, take the rinse water, put that in there, you know, so you're reusing the water, and then use that for wash, put in fresh rinse water, you know, because like that tank holds 65 gallons. Well, I can wash all of my clothes on like 50 gallons, so I'm in the clear. So it'll work good. I'm pleased with that. I'm satisfied, except that, like I say, I got to get rid of that loop in the hose. That really can't be there. It's got to be a straight feed in or a slight incline. The feed on the bottom is not too important. You know, the pressure pushes that water through. But if you have any air locks in there, it might come out on its own, but like I say, I had to kind of lift the hose, tweak it a little bit, and then it burped the air out, and then it started working. So that is a satisfactory project.